Hey everybody, this is Brett, and I didn't have a lot to say tonight, but I did write a few things down, and these are things that are in regards to reducing my expenses and living a simpler and more carefree life. And you know, I've been reducing my expenses for quite a while, trying to figure out little things, like I don't pay for haircuts anymore. I just got one 2 days ago, yesterday, I can't remember. But it looks good, huh? That's because I cut it myself with a Flowbee. It's an interesting little tool that sucks your hair in and then cuts it. And all different kinds of things that I've reduced my expenses. You see, if I can somehow manage to buy my own land with some money that I might come up with from somewhere, then I think I could live like a tribal kind of a life. It wouldn't have any luxuries at all. And the things that I could get rid of are these are mostly like occupations and services that people generally think are essential, that I don't think are really essential. Hello, L. Jack. So the first one is the plumber. And I think I can figure out a way to not have any pipes in my house at all. Just like an old cabin in the mountains, or just like a teepee in Africa, some kind of a tribal house. But it would be a real house. It would be a real house. It would be just like that. When I do the dishes, all I do is I put a big bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket, underneath the sink. And after it gets full, I just take that bucket and I walk it outside and dump it wherever I think a plant needs it. It's really simple. Whereas other people, they get in their cars and they go to the gym and they lift weights. I synchronize lifting weights into my daily activities. And that's one of them. I simply, a lot of people would think that that's really primitive, carrying a 40-gallon bucket of water. I don't think so. I think it would be just exercise. And that's kind of the thing. It's all in the way you think about it. No, a water pump takes electricity. Why would I want to add that when I need the exercise? I need exercise, right? People have figured out that they really need to lift weights, but they do it the wrong way. They go to the gym, and that's kind of like it becomes a social thing. What I want to do is have a community where everyone is already there. You don't have to get into a car and go and do to a bar or to the gym or any kind of a social activity and pretend like you're there to do weightlifting or drinking or something. But when you're really only there to socialize with people. I only want to socialize with the people that I want to socialize with. And so if I can pick out the ones that I want to socialize with and create my own weightlifting, then it will be a whole different story. And then I won't have to pay a plumber. I don't have to pay anyone to install the plumbing. And then I don't have to pay the number 6 sewer and water bill. Okay, so I'm going to try and find land with water, a water source on it. But if that doesn't come around, what I'll do is I'll just buy a big water tank, and around here it rains regularly. And I can save rainwater into my water tank, many, many hundreds of gallons, like they do in Texas, okay? So number 2 is the electrician. And before I go on, you should know that a lot of people will be wondering, like, well, if everybody did this, then what would all these people do for a living? And my answer would be that they would have to do something else. Okay, so I know the state would lose a lot of revenue because they no longer would have licensure for all of these different state professions, you know, plumber, whatever, accountant. I don't need one of those. I don't need an accountant. So the electrician, I've already installed my own solar panel and battery and whatchamacallit in my car. You guys have seen my car, right? I've got my own electric system in my car so I can plug things in. So it's not that much more difficult to create your own solar electric power thing. And I'm sure that I could figure out just by watching YouTube videos how to create my own wind turbine or my own, if I've got water like a little stream, I could have my own aqua flow thing, whatever you call it. So if I can get rid of the electricity bill and the electrician and all of the things associated with electricity, that would be a lot more money that I could save. And you see, I don't need a lot of electricity. The idea is to get rid of all of the appliances that suck a lot of electricity. And the ones that do that are the ones that create heat. The fridge isn't too bad, but I could probably get away with a very small fridge. But, so, if I can get away with reducing my electric consumption a lot, then I can radically reduce my electric bill. Now, you'll notice that in this apartment, I have baseboard heating. That takes a lot of electricity. And right now, the breakers in this apartment for those are turned off. Do you know how much I save every day from having the breakers turned off for those baseboard heaters? At least a quarter, something like 30 cents. Even when you're not using them, they're using electricity. All the appliances in your house are using very small amounts of electricity when they're plugged in, even if you're not using them. Did you know that? Those baseboard heaters are like 30, what is it, amps or watts? Somebody write that in a comment down below. In any case, they're big breakers. They're big breakers. And there's 3 or 4 of them for this apartment. I turned them all off for the summertime. But the goal is to create a rocket heater, a mass rocket heater. And if you've not ever watched the videos for that, check that out on YouTube, mass rocket heater. So it absorbs a lot of heat into the mass of it, the bricks and the sand and the stones, whatever you use to create it with. And that heat, it goes through all these channels that's like 12, 15 feet long before it goes out the flume. And what that does for you is that absorbs a lot more of the heat than just like a standard, you know, wood stove or fireplace or something like that. And that's what you want. You want to create, and it creates a lot more heat too. So there's a lot less, it burns off a lot less of the fumes that are going out the flume. So, yard maintenance. I would love to not have to hear lawn mowers. Do you know what I mean? The sound of lawnmowers and all of that. So what I want to do is, I'll probably have to have a lawnmower, but I just want to cut, like what I've done in the past out at the cabin, was I just cut the minimal, the bare ass minimal amount of grass down with either a weed eater or a lawnmower. And if I can do that and minimize my lawn mowing, and hopefully I've got a big enough property that I don't have to hear the neighbor mowing his lawn either, it would be really great. And also, the fumes, I really don't want to have to deal with that. In fact, it would be great if I could hire a neighbor to come over and do it for me. That's one thing. Okay, so that's one thing that I would pay for sure. So, the garbage man and the recycling man. Here in this apartment complex, we have both of those. And it's nice, but I don't really need that. In fact, I don't really want that. I want to have my own garden, as I've told you before, and I want to put all the compost and poo also in the garden and chop it all up and or in the compost and let it break down naturally. That's so funny. So funny, Chelsea. So, the pesticide man. Once a month, and it's so enjoyable, I have the pesticide man coming here. And every time it rains for that month, you can smell it. You can smell the pesticides. And I don't want to spray poisons all over my house. And I really wish the pesticide man here would go away, but that's not happening. So I really don't want to pay the pesticide man either. And the water heater. So one thing that I think I'd really like to do is to reduce the amount of water, hot water that I'm using. And it seems to me that, especially in the summer, I can get used to just using cool water except for an occasional hot shower. And so yeah, I'm going to practice that because obviously heating water is another thing that's like, it takes a lot of like either electricity. You can heat water on a rocket stove if you want, and that's how I'll do it. But it's not like it's just a matter of you can turn on a faucet and instantly it's there, you know. So that's so funny. I would like to eat a booger. Thank you, Chelsea. So the septic system. I would really not like to have a septic system. And most people in the country, that's what they have. And they think that they need that to flush their poo down up the pipe and go out to this system of channels out in their yard that where they think that it breaks down the poo as it sits there. But it really doesn't. I don't know exactly even how that works. I mean, I have an idea. But the real way to break down poo is to put it in a compost pile where it gets really hot with sawdust from the sun and from the action of the sawdust, all the carbon in the sawdust, and the heat breaks it down. And you just turn it over regularly with a shovel. And then after a couple of years, then you can feed trees and you can feed, you know, all kinds of, not your garden plants, but you can feed whatever plants in your yard, mostly trees. And you can just bury it right into the soil and add various leaves and stuff like that to it, and sand and soil, etc. Makes really great compost. And yeah, I just want to do everything more logically. So propane and natural gas. So you guys know that when I lived out at the cabin, that's how I heated the cabin. The propane man would come out in this giant truck and fill the 300-gallon propane tank that was out in the yard. And it would cost about $600 to do that. I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to spend $1,200 a year, whatever I was spending, on propane. I would like to just have a property that had plenty of trees that I could cut myself and chop my own wood. And so I would like to completely get rid of my expense of heating my place. And I don't want it to be a very big place, so I won't need very much wood either. And the tax man. So as long as I continue to not make very much money, I don't really have to pay much in taxes. But if I can retire in 6 years at the earliest age, which is 62, that would be really good, because then I would get Social Security every month, and I wouldn't have to pay any taxes up to 18,000, I think it is, after you've retired. So I could continue to work and make my products and stuff like that. But yeah, it would be really good to not have to pay any more taxes. And I'm not sure if I can even swing this whole thing within the next 6 years, but we'll see. 12 people are watching. That's awesome. You missed Princess Chelsea's comment. It was something about, she said, old man eat boogers, something like that. Oh, people are fucked up. Sorry. I didn't mean to swear, YouTube. So, food. So one of the things that I would do when I got my property, hopefully I'd have enough money to go out and buy a bunch of fruit trees. I really like fruit, and I would love to get a bunch of fruit trees and really take excellent, like perfect care of them, you know, have them perfectly pruned all the time and keep them at the right height, you know, and just like really nice. And use only natural, like really non-toxic pesticides. For instance, they have this stuff, like it's like a clay stuff. It's like this clay stuff that you put on apples, and you can probably put them on pears and maybe prunes and stuff like that. But it kind of just coats the whole fruit. And I've had them before because sometimes they'll sell them at the co-op in Asheville, and they're really, really good. They don't have any pesticides on them at all. It's just like a clay. And you have to have some kind of a sprayer, some kind of a fancy sprayer to put them on there, to put it on there. But I'm not really sure how it's done. They don't look good at all. They look like apples covered in white stuff. But after you wash them off, amazing. If you ever get a chance, if you ever see something like that, produce like fruits with a clay coating on them at your health food store from somebody local, definitely buy some. So good. So yeah, I'm gonna buy some fruit trees and some other kinds of trees. I'd like to put some nice maples in front of my house. And also bear in mind, if this stuff, this whole dream, this communal dream of mine never happens ever, it'll all manifest in my future existences, because I'm really working hard to create it. And that's just how it works in your life. If you have a dream that you really want and you work hard enough at it, you'll be born into that situation in your next life. That's what I think. How come nobody else is commenting? You could get one of those old-fashioned manual push mowers that have no engine. I don't know about those, Matt. I've tried those before. They don't really work very good, but I might get myself a goat. In fact, that's part of the whole deal. Didn't mean to shake you there. I really want a bunch of animals, and goats are amazing, and maybe a sheep. The thing is, you kind of want to have 2 of each thing, like Noah's Ark, you know, so that they can keep each other company. Some animals are more like what do they call it? Not tribal, but like, not territorial, but like, you know what I mean? Like packs, like dogs. They got to have a pack to be happy. And I think that, I'm not sure on those other farm animals. I'll have to learn about all of that. 14, we're up. Oh, we just lost one. 13 people, we're up to 13. Yeah. Nobody leave. Because I have one more thing. The mortgage and the interest. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could probably go get a first-time home buyer loan, right? And yes, I've thought about that, and it's a possibility. But I wouldn't want to spend very much money. And I would have to move to some place like out in the middle of nowhere, like Iowa, and buy like a $60,000 house because I just don't feel right about buying an old house for more than that. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people have houses that they've bought for $150,000, $200,000. To me, the reality of that, it just sounds terrifying. To pay all that, think about the interest on that. See, the bigger the house that you buy and the more it costs, the more you have to pay interest for a long, long, long time. Like the principal will start out as like being 30 or 40% of your payment, and the interest is the rest because they want you to pay the interest off first. They're not stupid. But I think it's really stupid to buy a house for that much money and pay that much interest. Because your house, the whole thing, the whole real estate thing is a real racket. All of that is a total racket. And I've just never wanted to buy into it. I never have I've had no desire, zero, in my whole life to buy into that, even though it's a racket that you can make money at. Up to this point, it's been a racket that you can make money at. And recently, house prices have gone up, up, up. But I don't think that that's going to stay. I think it's going to plummet eventually. And I think that a lot of different things, including you know what, will factor into that. Everything that goes up must come down. And that is the end of my list. Now, what do you want to talk about? Yes, a goat. Pack animals. Now ask a question, you guys. Ask a question, because I've run out of material. What do you want me to talk about? I haven't watched the news lately. Yesterday I watched 46 seconds of the news from Friday night. And then I made the comment, okay, I've watched 46 seconds now, and that's good enough. And a bunch of people like that. They're like, yeah, I only watched 36. How much acreage are you looking for? Probably only like 5 acres is all I would want to pay for. And I don't know, I'm kind of just learning about all of that. But the thing is, I've got time. What I'm trying to do mostly right now is figure out how to sell my products more. And why exactly I'm doing that at this time, I'm not positive, maybe just for the future. Because I don't have a whole lot of energy right now to make the products. That's the thing. What I do is totally ethical. It's totally not reliant upon other people. And I like that. I like that because I've had employees before that I had to rely on to show up to work. And it's a drag when they don't, or when they don't perform, or whatever, you know. I like it just being on my own. It's good, but it has its challenges. It's like everything else. So, you know, in a community, it would be different. Because if it were a community of people, and that's one of the benefits. See, if I had some people that needed some work, I would be totally good with giving them some of my work. Because when I'm making shindigs or foot friends or sewing pillows or whatever, it's all a lot of work. I need the work now, but I want to get into a situation, like I mentioned, of where I don't have all of these expenses, so I don't have to work too much. And the work that I do is carrying a bucket of water out to the yard. I want to live like totally, totally low budget. Like more low budget than the ghetto, okay? Like some people in inner cities, they're able to live off $400 or $500 a month, $600, $700 a month just for food, and they're living like a family all living together, a bunch of Hispanic or Asian people, or sometimes white people in the country. They're like all living in their one house together, you know, and that cuts all the expenses. But there's a better way to live, and that is with a holistic homesteading community of people that are doing things ecologically, logically, communally. And so if you can do that, then you can just you can just get rid of so many expenses. And like, imagine if everybody did that. The whole country would fall apart. That's why it has to be done. Like only a small number of people are going to gradually start doing things like homesteading. And so yeah, I've got to get going so that I can sell my orthotics and my sewing products. And I'll probably like to sub out my woodworking products, because woodworking tools take a lot of electricity, and it's really hard work, and it's really dusty, and I don't like wearing a mask all the time. It's a drag. I like doing woodworking sometimes, but I think that I need to gradually meander into a situation of where I'm not. I would prefer to do some other things, like what I'd really like to do is some art. And I could sell my art too. I have art genes in me. I can learn and do art, all different kinds of art. And the only way that you can really rely on that is if you have some kind, like if you have some kind another income, like for instance, you have a wife or a husband that has a high dollar making job, then the spouse can stay home and she or he can do their art and just sit around and take care of a kid or two and have a wonderful life. That's what a lot of women are looking for. They want to have this home life, this easy home life where they get married to some doctor, some, you know, money maker, and just stay home and make YouTube videos. We've all seen them, all those people. If you have help, will you have the helper come to you or have them create your products at their home? They would be working at their house 40 feet over that way, right in the eco village. And they would have their own little sewing machine. And yeah, I mean, imagine how many feet can use my orthotics. My orthotics are amazing, you guys. Really. I just haven't figured out how to sell them yet because they're not a plastic thing that can easily be made. It takes time to make them, even though the price is totally right on them. Especially right now, only $75, $20 off on sale. And yeah, so I got to figure out how to market them better, which is not easy because they're full of millet hulls. Okay, it's different for people. They're probably thinking like, "What is that? That's weird. That's not like the plastic orthotics that I've seen from the podiatrist for $400." No, it's not. But they're amazingly comfortable and totally adjustable and all natural. And they're even biodegradable. So, and they're custom made to fit perfectly in your shoes as well. My pillows are amazing. I'm prepared to buy a body pillow and another pillow for my daughter. I still have to write a review. Oh, good. Good, yeah. That's great because, like, you should buy one now. I don't have any work right now. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know I've got to go pay the rent tomorrow. That is another thing. I guess that's the same as like the mortgage. I shouldn't complain because like this apartment is not that expensive. In fact, it's cheap comparatively speaking because I live in this little doinking town. But I feel blessed, and I'm probably going to stay here for a while, I hope. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know that I have that much more to talk about. I'm probably going to go to bed, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good week. I know I don't do Sunday Night Lives that much anymore, but you know, if I have something to say and I've got a big list of things, then I will. But in the past, largely those things have been from current events. And to be honest, I have gotten bored with watching the COVID yada yada on the news because it's the same old crap. And it's great that, like, some people, maybe they just can't get enough of it, you know, but it's just the same old yada yada, and I don't really want to watch it anymore. In fact, everything on the news, I've already seen it before. There isn't anything on there that I haven't seen before. So that's it. I watch what I'll do is I'll just go and check it out, see if there's anything interesting, like a building fell down or something like that. Like, oh yeah, there we go. A building fell down, crushed 150 people. But, you know, some dude got his head bit off by a shark. Oh, that's interesting. It's Sarah. I changed my name on here. I don't believe you, Sarah. I think you're meditation and marigolds. So, anyways, I am pretty much done tonight, unless Sarah has some kind of a question for me. Got my chakra shirt on. She was the best dog. Can't think about that too much. I'll get crying. My neighbor has a golden retriever, and I got to pet him yesterday. Scratch his butt. All right, give me one question then. I think you're just trying to think of one. I was actually going to email you tonight about it. Let's do it public, Sarah. Unless you're going to ask me how big my schlong is. We can't do that. And you're married, so don't do it. Well, what is it, Sarah? Everyone's on the edge of their seats. What is my opinion about a root canal? Yes, pull the tooth. Don't get a root canal. Just get rid of it. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. Be well.